Shut up and sit down.
By all means, go for it. Have fun. Just leave me alone.
People are coming together more and more and more and more as the government has been failing us more and more.
I'm against being shitty to people.
You can't research your way into understanding somebody.
One way or another, I'd rather have the fight now.
What's up, everybody? I forgot to unmute my mic. Welcome to the Fight for Liberty Live. Today we're doing a solo show because everyone has given their opinion about Joe Rogan except for me, and I feel left out. So yeah, that's why we're here. Shout out to the sponsors for this and every other episode. Nug of Knowledge. Go to the website, use the promo code, get 10% off, get high, help the liberty movement, help end the war on drugs, help support free speech and free speech media and other libertarians. It's a win-win. It's going to be a short episode, so I'm going to keep the sponsorship bit short too. Let's get right into it. So Joe Rogan put out like a 10-minute video on Instagram, 2 days ago now, right? And a lot of people have a lot of opinions about it. A lot of people have been making videos about Joe Rogan for a few weeks now because this has been pretty much all anyone's talking about. Like, seriously, like even other like big podcasters who have a whole thing to do with their lives are taking a significant chunk of time out of their lives to talk about a different podcaster. And so here we are to do the same thing. I've got his video pulled up on Instagram. We're going to watch bits of it. You can watch the full 10-minute thing yourself. I'm not going to show you all of that. I don't know that I'm going to say anything that no one's said yet, but I'm hoping to offer a somewhat new perspective maybe on some of this compared to some of the other people that you might watch. I don't know who else you watch, so we'll see. Interact in the comments if you're here. We're going to have a fun one today, especially when I don't have a guest. I like talking to you guys because otherwise I get really lonely. I'm just talking to myself, and it's lonely. So say hi. We're going to hop on over to Instagram here. I love that we have Tulsi Gabbard's comment just sitting up there in how we have the screen grab. But let's go.
There's misinformation in them. The problem I have with the term misinformation, especially today, is that many of the things that we thought of as misinformation just a short while ago are now accepted as fact. Like, for instance, 8 months ago, if you said, if you get vaccinated, you can still catch COVID and you can still spread COVID, you would be removed from social media. They would ban you from certain platforms. Now that's accepted as fact. If you said, I don't think cloth masks work, you would be banned from social media. Now that's openly and repeatedly stated on CNN. If you said, I think it's possible that COVID-19 came from a lab, you'd be banned from many social media platforms. Now that's on the cover of Newsweek. All of those theories that at one point in time were banned were openly discussed by those two men that I had on my podcast that have been accused of dangerous misinformation.
All right, so that part, like 100% down with. Yeah, like it's a little bit crazy when the people who have been spreading literal misinformation this entire time are trying to crack down on what types of misinformation are okay and what types aren't. Everything that he just mentioned there. And we can add ivermectin. We can add vitamin D deficiency being a contributing factor to COVID death. We can talk about lockdowns. Let's even, we can hop on over to, if I can pull this stuff up correctly. Lockdowns. Even Johns Hopkins agrees the lockdowns not fucking worth it. But when we said this 2 years ago, we were crazy people, right? So I don't think that these guys should be the arbiters of what is and isn't misinformation, right? and when they try to label, I mean, if you actually watch Rogan's show, which most of his critics, it's pretty clear that they don't. And I'm not even like trying to suck his dick here. Like, it's just, that's just a fact. Like, there are legitimate criticisms to be made of Joe Rogan. I make some. And I will in about 2 minutes. I will make some severe criticisms of Joe Rogan. That's fine. But when your arguments are these, like, oh, he's right wing, like, when it's just these ad hominem attacks, it's just parroting talking points, it's obvious that you don't actually watch the show. And so this is just, if you watch the show and you hear these things, you understand that he's been saying get vaccinated if you want to get vaccinated. He's actually takes a less extreme stance than I do on most of this stuff. And so, but he's the one getting chewed out for it. Next bit of the video that I want to show you guys, though, not quite as gung-ho super happy about.
At the beginning of the
Let's go back. All right. You guys can see this, right? Cool.
One of the things that Spotify wants to do that I agree with is that at the beginning of these controversial podcasts, like specifically ones about COVID, is to put a disclaimer and say that you should speak with your physician and that these people and the opinions that they express are contrary to the opinions of the consensus of experts, which I think is very important. Sure, have that on there. I'm very happy with that. Also, I think if there's anything that I've done that I could do better is have more experts with differing opinions right after I have the controversial ones. I would most certainly be open to doing that. And I would like to talk to some people that have differing opinions on those podcasts in the future. We'll see. I do all the scheduling myself, and I don't always get it right. These podcasts are very strict.
Okay, so I don't like most of what he said there, right? So first of all, he's taking a super like admission of guilt stance here. He's like, oh, I'm sorry. He's almost like agreeing with them that he's spreading misinformation and like apologizing for his part in spreading misinformation. Bullshit. First of all, right? Now let's talk about those disclaimers, because those are going to be serious. Those are likely to actually happen because of all of this, and this is serious. Now, Joe, two things about him, and I'm actually going to kind of sound like his critics, very much going to sound like his critics here. I don't think Joe Rogan understands the power that his voice has. When he says something like, yeah, I don't mind these disclaimers on my shows because I'm still going to get 30 million views or listens on my podcast with or without a disclaimer, with or without the inevitable algorithm fuckery that comes with it. He's fine with that because he can handle that. The rest of us, not so much, right? I don't think he understands that if he gives the thumbs up on something like that, that he speaks for the entire podcasting community right now, and we disagree. At least a large chunk of us. Not, I wouldn't say a majority, because there's too many normie podcasts out there for me to call us the majority. But there is a large amount of people, most of whom his fans, most of whom were inspired to start their shows by him, myself included, who are going to get fucked by this. And I really don't think he fully grasps that, because if we have labels on the controversial podcast, right? Like, everyone watching this knows where I'm going with this, right? This is a slippery slope. This is a bad idea. This is not something that's going to be implemented fairly. Now, the part about consulting your doctor, like if they put a disclaimer on every podcast that mentions COVID in any way and says, hey, this is a podcast, not a medical diagnosis, talk to your doctor, don't listen to podcasts for your medical advice, then that I would be okay with. If they were going to like evenly put this across the board, that podcasts about health matters had a disclaimer that like maybe double check this all with a doctor before you do any of it. All right, maybe I would be okay with that. But we all know that's not what's going to happen. Like the fucking CNN podcast, I think there is literally a CNN podcast, but that's a whole other story. Like, mainstream midgets 2.0 the podcast is not going to get a disclaimer in front of their podcast that's 45 minutes of them talking about why every unvaccinated person is a horrible person and evil. That's not going to get a disclaimer, right? The podcast that's saying, hey, maybe we should look into vitamin D. That's what's going to get these disclaimers. Like, we know this. We've already seen it. We've seen how other platforms are behaving currently. We're seeing some of what Spotify has already done to censor and to, not deplatform really, but, kind of, they've already taken episodes of Rogan down. They've taken episodes of other podcasts down. They've taken episodes of my friend's podcast down. Like, that's the thing that Spotify is already participating in. They're just not doing quite as bad of a job as everyone else. So no, I don't like this. I don't like the fact that Rogan kind of half-heartedly endorsed it here. Actually, not even half-heartedly. Like, he says it like 3 times throughout the actual 10-minute video. Not great. And yeah, he continues to back down, to apologize to Spotify. He apologizes to Neil Young. He apologizes to Joni Mitchell and everybody else. Bro, you're not doing anything wrong. Stop apologizing. Whether or not Neil Young actually of his own volition decided, hey, I want to be a dipshit, or whether or not it was his ties to BlackRock and other financial interests, we don't know. However, either way, you don't owe him a goddamn thing. Maybe you like his music. He tells a little anecdote at the end of this 10-minute clip about him working at a Neil Young concert. Okay, sure, you're a Neil Young fan. You're a Joni Mitchell fan. Sure, that's fine. Like, I'm not necessarily a fan of either one. I'm more of a fan of Leonard Skinner, who dissed Neil Young. So, that's more my style. But so what if you listen to their music? You don't have to like bow down to them here. Like this is not the time to back down. This is, you just won. Like, you won this thing. Like, you had 270 doctors supposedly try to come after you. Most of them weren't doctors. Most of them like are fucking nobodies. But that didn't do anything. Joni Mitchell, Neil Young, bunch of other artists, you're still there. Like, Spotify's not going to take you down. Just keep going. Like, this isn't the time to back down and be like, hey, I'm sorry that I'm stirring the pot. No, you're stirring the pot and it's working. People are learning. You're getting 3 times the viewership of any other show in ever. Keep it up. Keep doing it. Keep waking people up. This is not the time to back down. This was actually like the biggest win we've had for free speech and a wider variety of information since the beginning of this pandemic. Like, this is literally the biggest W we have ever seen, is the outpouring of love for Joe and for his podcast and the support that he's gotten here. Like, this is the biggest W we've gotten this entire time, in my opinion. And we need to take it as a W, not like a, whew, I just barely dodged like a huge L. Like, this was a huge W. So let's treat it like that. Let's keep going. Let's keep pushing forward. Rogan, I really wish that you were just a little bit more radicalized. I need you to meet some more libertarians, some real libertarians. I know you've met a couple, but we need you to like really get ingrained. Have Spike Cohen on your show. That would probably 1 3-hour conversation with Spike Cohen would move you the rest of the way. do that, please, because like we could really use you fully on our side here. And things like this, it's not helpful in the end when you get a W and then pretend you didn't, or that it's illegitimate or something like that. So I really liked the beginning where he was attacking the very concept of misinformation. It's a really good point, and I think that's honestly the part of it that most people were listening to. If I'm going to be real, if I'm seeing, the responses on the internet, both positive and negative, if I'm reading those correctly, it's hard not to. Like it seems to be the part that most people are focusing on, so that's a win. Guys, thanks for watching. We're trying to continue to put out the good tangible information, have conversations with people from all walks of life who are doing various different things. There's a literal war on this kind of information and this kind of sharing of information, so we need all the support that we can get. So if you don't already, please subscribe, follow, do all the things, because it's really crucial. And because platforms like YouTube, Facebook, Spotify, Twitter are removing us right, left, and center, follow me on Float. Follow me on Odyssey. Get the fuck off of these old ass platforms, especially YouTube. Like, this video is going to go up on YouTube, but seriously, fuck YouTube. I'm not going to engage with my YouTube much. Like, all my videos are still going to go on there for the time being. I'm just waiting for the suspension. I already get more views on most of my videos on Odyssey than I do YouTube. Let's keep that going. Let's make that 100%. I want to be streaming to YouTube and getting 0 views because everyone's over on Odyssey. Getting 1,000 views on Odyssey and 0 on YouTube instead of half and half. Let's do that. All right. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll catch you back here on Tuesday for a normal show. This was just a fun little snippet. I love you all. See you next week. Until then, keep up the fight.
Shut up and sit down.